All right, go. Shay.
Post game.
Oh, he's not a pre.
Yeah, he's
a post
game bright lights kind of guy. Hey, I wonder, do you see any circumstances where Flory and Hunter would be out there together at all, or have they yet?
I tell you what, I thought that there still could be if we play zone probably, which we play a lot of zone, or at least we historically have. So probably not a ton, but maybe some opportunities too. There's still some things that we were exposed in a big way the other night, which would be good for us. That we got to figure out some other things first. I mean, like, let's get good at being who we are, and then maybe branch off after that, as opposed to trying to figure out ways to kind of tinker right now. Because I think we were exposed in a way that our meat and potatoes needs to get somewhat better in some different areas. And so right now I would say no early on, sure. but in large part because we'd be practicing or planning on doing something in a way that we haven't had Hunter out there. What he missed, like 9 days. And then he practiced yesterday, but he's still probably not going to play. He's not going to play in the game tomorrow. At least I don't think he is as of now. And then we get, the other thing, to your point, we've got some pretty big games coming up in the first 10 days or 2 weeks of our season. So I don't know that we'll be able to get to a lot of stuff until maybe later on, stuff like that.
And then with these exhibitions, like Illinois last year, Arkansas the other night, I mean, is that so much better for the guys to get that taste, that feel, versus, and no disrespect to Fort Hays or Washburn or whatever, but is that so valuable for them to get a taste of that early?
I don't know. When I was at Illinois, the first year I was there, we played like 7 teams that were all ranked in the top 20 by Christmas. The last year I was there, we didn't play anybody that was ranked in the top 20, in large part because we were starting all freshmen. Darren D. and Roger Luther, James. They were, and if they weren't freshmen, they were very, very young. And winning created just as much positives from a confidence standpoint as maybe going 4-3 against that monster schedule, so to speak, if that makes sense to you. Now, come NCAA tournament seeding stuff, it obviously is more essential. But to actually preparing the team to be good early on, and I don't know which is really the best way, because they need to go through stuff as newcomers that they hadn't been through, but also you need confidence too, and sometimes when you go through stuff, confidence can be taken from you in some way, shape, or form. So I don't really know. I guess it'll still play out to be, it'll play out later to what is the best strategy. But I do think that situation that we played in the other night was probably about as healthy for us, because that may be the only place. Maybe going to another place where there's a new coach and the fan base is rabid, but that's probably about as good and tough a situation you can have in an exhibition game. And that was probably good for us. And then not being kind of at full strength probably made us look worse than what we actually were. But it also is a good way to get everyone's attention. Long story short, I don't know. So.
Thanks.
Hey, Coach, I know you and Coach Ballard go back, and obviously he was a player here, and I talked to him a couple weeks ago that he said he wants you to rest all your top players for this game. But
yeah.
In terms of your relationship with Coach Ballard, and obviously you guys have played against each other before, what's that like with Coach Ballard and just the relationship that you guys have?
Well, first of all, Brett was a darn good player. I mean, he was like the 8th man on a team that arguably was as good as anybody in the country when they went to the Final Four, I think his senior year. So he's a good player. And then he was in, he went to the other side, to the media side shortly and was working in the media. And then when we came back, we hired him to be part of our staff, and he was great. He's probably as good responsible assistant that we've had. I mean, he was terrific, and then he got, stayed on with Danny when Danny made his different stops, and then of course got the job at Washburn, replacing a legend, and he's great. His family's great, and we're happy for Brett and all his success that he's had and will continue to have. And we're good friends. So I want to see him do well. Not at the expense of us, but tomorrow night. Hopefully, it's a fun game for him and for us, to be quite honest, because I think we can both accomplish some things tomorrow night that would be good for both of us.
Going back to the Arkansas game on Friday, what do you feel like you learned about your team outside of just playing in that atmosphere?
Well, I learned that we haven't figured out yet how to guard a ball screen. I've learned that and there's some certain things we got to figure out. I learned that our transition defense was I don't want to say horrendous, but it was poor on the. I also learned that I think from an aggressive mindset, you score a high percentage of points when you get paint touches, and you score a ridiculously low percentage of points when you don't. So we have to start valuing different things on what's important to actually leading to good possessions. There's a lot of things like that I think we can get better at.
And with Rylan and Shaquille, where are they at in kind of their rehab process? Do you see either one of them being able to play tomorrow night?
Yes, I see them both playing tomorrow night. Now, maybe limited, but I see them both being out there tomorrow. And Hunt could too, but I don't know that we'll do that with Hunt. With his type of injury, a little strain could set him back 2 or 3 more days. But with the other two, I've been led to believe, put them out there for a little bit and see what they can do.
And with Rylan specifically, what have you seen from him since he got to campus and before the hip flexor injury?
Well, I think that probably more so than anybody, you can run crap offense and come away with 3 points. I think there's a couple other guys, we didn't see it the other night, that you could do that too better than what we've had in the past. But Rylan is a catch and shoot guy with range. He's got size, so he can get it off, and I think that he is very, very important to our success and being able to stretch the defense.
Coach, you've talked a lot about Zeke Mayo setting himself apart this offseason. Is that something you continue to see from him?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't think we had a good night the other night. And that's just being a fact. I think a lot of it was nerves. I think a lot of it's new, fresh, and he's very capable. He's a good player. There's no question. But I think that we have to get more production out of him than what we have, and I think he needs to continue to put himself in situations to be more aggressive as opposed to just being out there. We talked about being a best player, one of the best players. Well, best players have to put themselves in positions to succeed, and when you do that, you also don't succeed often. And I think the other day he kind of played cautious.
And out of the newcomers, who else has really caught your eye, whether that was in the exhibition game or just?
I think well, in the exhibition there was only one newcomer that played, in my opinion. That was Rockies. To me, he was the best player we had in the exhibition game, but that's also small sample size. Flores had a very good preseason. Zeke's had a good preseason. I think David has gotten better and given us more that we saw the other night. And the big key to our team, and I've said it many times, of not really knowing what you have yet, is AJ and Rylan. Let's just call it like it is. AJ and Rylan need to perform at a pretty high level to give us the best chance.
At the end of last year, you said something about because of the difficulty of games that you played early in your schedule, you didn't get to get young players acclimated as much as you might have wanted to. How do you approach that this time around?
See, it's a little bit. You brought up a good point. Young players. Are we young?
Not really.
So the question is, and I've talked about, when you look at our team, do you look at experience or do you look at newbies? And I would say you could make a case for you still look at them as newcomers. So even though they've been in another college program a couple of years, and so that's a good point. Hopefully, we're going to have a situation in some games where we can afford to do that more than we did last year. But the high-profile games obviously are not going to be games that you're worried about minutes. And I'm not saying you will in the other games, but the reality of it is you're trying to win those games, at all costs on those particular nights. So you could play 8, or you could play 9, or maybe you could get to 10 or whatever. But I think your question may be one that I don't know the answer yet, because I think we are old, but I think we're inexperienced the way we do things, and so I really don't know if we handled it right with our schedule. But in all honesty, how do you turn down playing Carolina and Duke both within the first 2 weeks of your season? So those were givens we were going to do regardless.
With so many new guys, was the film session more interesting or more valuable after?
I thought I was just going to say long. No. It was good. The film session was good. We only watched about 15 minutes of real time of film, but that 15 minutes stretched out to an hour. But I thought the film session good. One thing about it, film doesn't lie. You can say you didn't do this or you didn't do that, and they'll say, oh yes I did, and then you can watch tape and say, oh no I didn't. So I thought it was good.
How is AJ progressing, and what'd you think of his game?
I think that I have AJ messed up at the moment because he doesn't know what aggressive looks like. Hey, be aggressive, move the ball. That contradicts the two things. Be aggressive, but 0.5 rules. You got to pass it, shoot it, or drive it within 0.5. But you want me to be aggressive? That kind of stuff. That's not on him as much as it is on us getting him to understand that you can do both. So I'd say he's a little bit thinking instead of reacting. So I didn't think he was very good the other night, but I'm not sure it was because he wasn't very good or because maybe he's just not really reacting the way that he will, we know, over time when he gets more comfortable.
Bill, you mentioned, I think, on Media Day that the plan was to potentially redshirt someone. Is that still kind of the plan, and how is that kind of looking with Jamari? And I guess
I don't know yet. I think it's looking. I think we're studying that, and we'll see how it goes tomorrow, and then maybe till about Saturday or Sunday, and then make some decisions then. But right now, I still don't know yet.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned you don't know what exactly Jamari's future kind of looks like, and talking to his family and stuff like that. What are you hoping to see out of him in the next few games?
Well, next game or after, I think Jamari is a terrific blend guy. I think he can fit in and make the other guys on the team be better because he's comfortable with what we're doing and he understands and he's really improved a ton. He didn't get a chance to do a lot the other night, but he's improved a ton. So I think he's a winner first and foremost. So we'll just wait and see how it goes. A lot depends on other guys too.
Bill, you did quarters with Arkansas. Are you going to do anything different with the?
No. Brett and I hadn't talked about anything. Coach Calipari and I visited about the quarters, and he was big on it because he thought his team would foul out, or we'd shoot free throws the whole game because. If in fact, he wanted to play quarters and no fouls. Well, the way it turned out, I mean, hell, they shot 28 free throws and we shot 6 or whatever it was. So it didn't exactly go the way he had described it to me and wanting to do that. But the reality of it is, it was fine because if you play no fouls, you can at least keep your guys out there in these situations. But tomorrow we'll play normal. College rules. Yeah,
you mentioned not wanting to turn down North Carolina and Duke this year. The Las Vegas event was announced the other day. I guess what intrigued you about being a part of that event?
I just think it's hard to pass up being part of something that's going to be the the focal point of all the eyeballs in college basketball. I think the Champions deal is still the marquee doubleheader going in the preseason. And I also believe, there's other big games. There's no question. And people are playing them all over, which is great for our sport to play as many big non-conference games, interconference games as you possibly can. But to open up Allegiant Stadium the year that they play the Final Four with a field like Indiana and Duke, and who's the fourth one? Arizona. I mean, that's pretty good. And you probably, I don't know what you do, but I bet we put a minimum of 40,000 people in there for that deal. That's a pretty good way to tip off a season and bring interest to our sport at a time where football dominates. So that's good. We need more games like that. And of course, you'd rather be a part of it than not a part of it.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.